Hello, this is Spell Squires MTG. Today we're on part 2 of the Zendikar Rising set review. Today we have red, green and multicoloured. Hope you enjoy. Cleansing Wildfire. More of a pauper and a modern card, but destroys target land and its controller may search the library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle their library and you draw a card. So it replaces itself. I could definitely see this seeing play. Carved Intimidator, I don't think it's going to see play in Commander at all. Human Warrior, cowards can't block warriors, and you can pay one and give it +1/+1, or make a creature a coward, or it gains trample, but you can only do it once each turn. So you can stop it from being blocked by one opponent, and you can also pump it again. More of a standard card, I'd say. Next up we have Leyline Tyrant. You don't use unspent red mana as steps and phases end. And when it dies, you can pay any amount of red and it deals that much damage to any target. Definitely a strange card. It doesn't carry over turn, so the red mana. I don't think it's the greatest. I don't think I would play it. It's just a bit of a strange card, really. Magmatic Channeler. As long as there are 4 more instant sorceries in your graveyard, it's +3/+1. And you can discard a card and exile the top 2 cards of your library, and then choose one of them, and you can play that this turn. Some card draw in red, which is quite nice. If you notice, the white really didn't really have any, as per usual. So this can be a 4/4. Which can draw you cards as well, so I quite like it. And play it when you need the impulsive draw in a mono red deck or a Boros deck. Next we have possibly one of the best cards for Commander in this set, Morag Fury of Koum. It's a 6 mana 6/6 legendary creature, Minotaur Warrior, and each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each creature time you attack. For each time it's attacked this turn. It did not need that line of text at all. So it's got landfall. Whenever a land is battlefield on your control, if it's your main phase, there's additional combat phase after this phase. Being that combat, untap all creatures you control. This card is very dirty, with a card on the right hand side of it, or Scape Shift. You can cast one of those in your main phase. Cast one of those, you get 5 attack steps, attack once, attack again, attack again, attack again, and your creatures keep getting bigger and bigger every time you attack. I can see the same play with Breath of Fury as well, possibly in a Locust God deck. You could sort of make some sort of weird land deck. I mean, you don't even need lands in this deck. You can just play a land and get an extra combat step. An extra combat step probably costs about 4 mana on average, so that's a very good deal there if you just get 1 combat step out of this. Obviously it doesn't do anything impactful immediately. Other than that, it's a very good card. Now here is Litho forming, the card I was talking about. You sacrifice X lands, and then you for each land sacrifice this way, draw a card, and you can pay X additional lands this turn. And they enter tapped. So with the Morag Minotaur, you can play this, sacrifice all your lands, draw 6 cards, or say, and then put 6 lands back down and get 6 combat steps in a row. Very dirty. Relic Robber. When it deals commander play, that player creates a 0/1 colourless goblin construct artifact creature with this creature can't block, and it big for upkeep, it deals 1 damage to you. So you can give this to a player. People can just let it through, and it just keeps doing damage to them. Obviously, it doesn't scale well in Commander, as well as it does in Standard. Very good card in Limited, I think, because you can instantly attack with it. Next, we have Roiling Vortex. I think if each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex deals 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana is spent to cast that spell, it deals 5 damage to that player. And then you can pay a red and your opponents can't gain life this turn. This is sort of like a Sulphuric Vortex, which costs 1 less and does half as much damage, and also benefits you against people who aren't playing any spells like Narset decks, which is a good thing to hate on. Shatterskull Smasher, 3 mana, 4/3 trample haste, more of a standard card I'd say. When it's kicked, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, the kick cost is 2, and if you end step, if Shatterskull charges and have a +1/+1 counter on it, return it to its owner's hand. So I'll play this for the kick cost, but then it's a 5 mana 5/3 5/4 with trample and haste. Not really worth it, I'd say. So I wouldn't play it. I don't think it will see much play at all. Next you have Shatterskull Smashing. Oh, I wish this card hit players. I can play it in Calamax. I don't have a Calamax deck, but I'll be more willing to make one if more big X spells existed, where you can hit multiple targets. This of course is one of the lands which flip and you can pay 3 life. And it deals X damage divided among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers, and if it's 6 or more it deals double damage. I think it's a very good card for limited. Alright targeted removal. If you're not paying 6, I don't think it's worth it, so you're going to have to 8 mana. And then in red, you're not always going to have that much mana anyway. Cleansing Voice reprint, that's alright. Valakut Awakening. One of these lands which flips again. And then it's tapped. And then it's basically a Wheel of Fortune just for you. But you only have as many cards as you started with before you played it, so possibly Wheel decks, maybe Locust God, because you can use it for a land slot. May not Nekasar, because you want to wield your opponents in that deck. I think you could see some play. Obviously the land is great upside. Next you have Valakut Exploration. If a land enters the battlefield and you control, you exile the top card of your library. You play that card for as long as it may be exiled. Very good impulsive draw here. As long as you can play a land. If you exile a land, you can get another land, which means you get another card. So, I think it's very good. And then, if at the beginning of the next end step, if there are cards exiled with it, put them into your graveyard and it deals that much damage to each opponent. So it's sort of like a card draw engine and a finisher put together. Definitely see some play like Duretti decks possibly, because you often have very large spells in there. You have things like Darksteel Forges, Blightsteel Colossuses, mere Battle Spheres which you want to reanimate with Duretti or Goblin Welders. So definitely a very good card. Wayward Guide Beast, I'm not going to talk about that one, it's not very good. Ancient Green Warden. It's a 6 mana random map excavator with reach, and whenever a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of permanent you control, that ability triggers an additional time. It's basically just a lands matter card. Sort of like a Panharmonicon for lands. Lands matter builds definitely see play, because you can play a fetch land from your graveyard, and if you do have like a let's say, I don't know, Avenger Zendikar out, you play the fetch land, you sack it, all your plants get +1/+1 counter, search library for a land, put it into play, put more counters on your land, on your plants, so you'll have 4 +1/+1 counters on there just from that one land. And then if you have, let's say, Dry Edition Grove or an Exploration where you can play additional lands, you can then replay that land and get 2 more counters for both when you sack it. So it's a very good card in lands decks. Outside of that, I don't really know. Get Rock monster decks. Next we have a Shire Soul of the Wild, another lands matter commander. Its power and toughness equals to the lands you control, and it basically turns every single non-token creature into a forest. In addition to other types. So let's say you had a load of elves, those will turn into forests and they'll pump Shire big. Obviously elves already tapped for forests, land mana. Often, maybe a Hydra deck could want this because you can get a lot of mana from it. Next we have Cragplate Baloth. This is a 7 mana 6/6, so it can't be countered, hexproof and haste, and if it's kicked, enters 4 counters on it, so it can be a 10 mana 10/10 with hexproof, haste, can't be countered. It protects itself, doesn't do anything immediately. More of a standard limited bomb. I don't play standard, but could see play. Next we have Inscription of Abundance, 1 and a green, with kicker 2 and a green, and if it's kicked you choose any number instead, but 2+++ counters on target creature. Target player gains X life for X is the greatest number among creatures they control, and then target creature control fights target creature you don't control. 2 mana for the fight is an alright rate. Obviously Prey Upon cost 1 green, but I believe that's sorcery. I'd say definitely the blue one's the best out of these. Next you have Kazandu Mammoth. Whenever a land is fast-footed, it's +2/+2 until end of turn, and obviously be flipped into a land which enters tapped. Notice Cobra reprint, very good card. Just generates you extra mana. Oran Reef Ooze. When it enters the battlefield, put +++ counter on target creature you control. When it attacks, put +++ counter on each attacking creature with a +++ counter on it. +++ counter cards do like having +++ counter on it, and they do often say +1/+1 counters on them. Just like this card. Probably quite good in any, maybe an Atraxa build. It's probably a bit slow. Base, it's a 3 mana 3/3, which gets bigger every time it attacks. Very good limited card. Probably not commander playable though. Next you have Roiling Regut Wraith, an uncommon. It's basically Harrow, but the land's enter tapped. But the sacrificing the land's not an additional cost, which is quite interesting. So you can cast a spell with no lands in play. So you could scape shift, cast this with no lands in play. No, that wouldn't work because the sacrificing the lands resolves at the same time. It's a very interesting card. Maybe that Chandra's card where you sacrifice, oh no, not Chandra, Nahiri's Lithomancy, I think it is, where you sacrifice X lands as an additional cost. So anything with an additional cost you'd be able to play this afterwards, even if you had no lands. Next we have Scoop Swarm. Whenever a land is battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect token, and if you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a Scoop Swarm instead. It's sort of like a Scoop mob, which gets 5+++ counters if you have 5 or more lands on your upkeep. Very similar. So this one makes more of itself. So you start with 1, then 2, then 4, then 8. Or a land enters. That could get very out of control very quickly. So you have Swarm Shambler with a +++ counter on it. Whenever a creature with a +++ counter on it becomes a target for a spell an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green insect. And you can pay 1 and put. It's basically Outlast, but without the sorcery speed downgrade. I think it's alright because it can sort of replace itself. Next you have Tazaru Paragon. Also counts as everything in your party type, but only ever counts as 1. So it enters the battlefield if you kicked it. You get to reveal the top 6 cards of your library and put a creature card that shares a creature type with it among them and put it into your hand. 3 is a bit much just to do that. Obviously in standard 2 mana 3/2 is going to be alright. Maybe in a party deck it would definitely be very good. Party command decks possibly see play. Next you have Turn Timber Symbiosis. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among one's battlefield, and if it has CMC 3 or less, enters with 3+++ counters on it. And of course has the land which you pay 3 and enters untapped. I think that could see play. Obviously, you can cheat out a Blightsteel Colossus. Very good. But that's just a high end. If you whiff, that'll get 3 counters on it. Maybe if you get Fathom Mage with this in a counter deck, because you'll draw. Oh no, that's not CMC3 or less. Could possibly see play. Next, we have Vastwood Surge. It's an explosive vegetation with upside again. And if it's kicked, you get to put 2+1/+1 counters on each creature you control. This is just a straight upgrade to explosive vegetation, like every single land card seems to be now. Like Migration Path was Countess Route. I've seen big mana decks, this will be quite good as well with Landfall. Next we have Akiri, Foilless Voyager. Oh, it's a Boros card which draws cards. When you attack with one or more creatures, you draw a card. That was just for each of them. So you can actually get some draw on. And you may pay a white and you get to unattach an equipment from a creature you control, and you tap that creature and it gains indestructible. It basically regenerates, but better. For a white, definitely a good commander because it's card advantage in Boros. Next you have Grakmaw, Skyclave Ravager, and so with 3 counters on it, and whenever another creature you control dies, if you had a counter on it, you put +1/+1 counter on Grakmaw. When it dies, you can make an XX green, black and green Hydra creature token, where X and +1/+1 counters on it. At the base level, this is a 3 mana 3/3, which makes a 3/3 when it dies. Obviously, it will get bigger again. It's an interesting commander. Obviously, they're better Golgari commanders. I play Rayhan Lost of the Abstan by itself rather than this for a commander. And obviously, you can add another commander with it. So next we have Kazu Royal Chaser, flying in haste 1/2, and the next instant sorcery spell you cast this turn costs excess to cast, so it's the number of wizards you control as this ability resolves. So let's say you had 3 wizards, it will cost 3 less to cast. Definitely could see play. Mizzix is just better. Next you have Linvala of Shield Gate, and then if you have a full party at the end of combat, you choose a non-land permanent an opponent controls, and it can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. You can sacrifice it and then choose Hexproof and Indestructible, and then creatures you control gain that ability end of turn. So it's in a party deck again. You can protect your party. It's alright. Next you have Nahiri, Heir of Ancients. The second Planeswalker from the set we're looking at. And you can create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token, and you may attach an equipment you control to it. It's alright. Similar to the Nahiri from the C14 commander decks. And then you can -2 and look at the top 6 cards of your library, and you may reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. It's alright. Then Nahiri Heir of Ancients deals damage equals to target creature or planeswalker, just twice the number of equipment you control. So you had 3, it will deal 6 damage, so it's removal or protection, which you can use immediately. Protects itself with the +1, and then you can draw cards as well, so I'd say it's alright. It's not the best Planeswalker ever. An equipment deck, you could definitely see play. Next we have Nissa of Shadowed Barrels. It has landfall. Whenever land is the battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Nissa. It costs 4 mana, has 4 loyalty, and you can +1 and untap target land you control, and you may have it become a 3/3 elemental with haste, menace, and send a turn. So you can just ramp with it, or you can make a creature, which is what I like about it, because you don't have to make the land become a creature. And then -5 is you can put a creature card with CMC, converts mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield, or from your hand or graveyard with 2+1 counters on it. So obviously the high end you can cheat Blightsteel Colossus onto the battlefield, and then on the low end you can cheat, I don't know, a Murasar Root Grazer in the top left. Could see play. It's very interesting. It doesn't protect itself at all. immediately. So not the best for Commander. Standard definitely see play. On that Locus of Creation, this costs a red, green, white and blue. When it's battlefield you draw a card, and when a land enters battlefield in your control, first you gain 4 life, and the second time in a turn you gain Omnath's casting cost, and then the third time it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Definitely a lands matter commander. Don't know how much this will cost. You can pre-order it for £11, $11. Probably Corvold or Warlord Windgrace is probably a better lands matter commander. Obviously, if you want the white for cards like Maria Shepherd, it's very good, and it also counts as protecting yourself in life gain, ramp, and finisher, all in the same card. So if it drew you cards, it would be busted. So I see why they didn't do that. Next, you have Aura Skyclave Hierophant, another cleric tribal commander. I'll put the demon in this deck. It sort of reminds me of a Tyam Luminous Enigma deck, where you're aiming to just keep on bringing back creatures over and over again and just loop them. Obviously with Athreus on the battlefield, you can just loop this infinitely, I believe. You can do a lot of things. Possibly, because Athreus returns them to your hand. With Edgewalker, you can just keep on bringing back Shadowborn Apostles with Athreus on the battlefield, because you can play a Shadowborn Apostle, then play a white and a black cleric. I can't name one off the top of my head. Sacrifice it to a carrion feeder, let's say. You can sacrifice a Shadowborn Apostle and then bring it back again to the battlefield with the creature dying, and then a second one you can bring back to your hand and then put it into play. Obviously you could do that anyway with Athreus, so I think Athreus is a better cleric tribal commander, even though it doesn't care about clerics. Could possibly see play though. Pilaf World Sculptor is a Avenger of Zendikar. You make a 0/1 plant for each creature token for each basic land you control when it enters. Could see play as a commander. Whenever a land is battlefield in your control, you put 4+++ on counters on target land you control. Definitely like a Avenger of Zendikar, but weirder. Avenger of Zendikar is obviously better than this, because you make a larger board far quicker. As a commander, it could be alright. Obviously, Omnath Locus of Rage is just better, because it's Omnath Locus of Rage. Rolls a Split Current. This is the kicker commander I was talking about. And then when it enters, you put a +++ counter on each mana spent to cast it. So, it's basically like a Prosh, or a, I can't think of it, the Naya Beast from the original Commander set. So you, let's just say you play it for green and a blue with command attacks. It would be a 4/4, and if you have a kick spell, you may remove 2++ counters on it. If you copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. A lot of kick cards care about counters, which is funny, so you could possibly play a kick spell, copy it, remove the counters, and then put the counters back on it again. So basically you just replace them, just keep on casting kicker spells, and copying them, which is very powerful. Ishan, I'm not going to talk about this one as a commander. It's sort of a hate bore, because it's a 4/4. Not a commander. Next we have Zagras, Thief of the Heartbeats, another party card. I wouldn't play it. Flying Death Touch, Haste, and other creatures control of Death Touch. Whenever a creature control deals combat damage to a Planeswalker, destroy it. In a party deck, yes. Outside of that, no. Zarasan the Trickster. It has Flash, and you can pay 2 a blue and a black. Return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its owner's hand, and put Zareth into play tapped and attacking. When it deals damage to a player, you may put target permanent card from Plays graveyard on the battlefield on your control. Very powerful. Commander, you're going to have to find a way to get into your hand first. And obviously any permanent. So probably what I would do is play Rogue Tribal with a lot of removal. And removal which can destroy most permanents. So you can get back the best stuff possible. Next we have Forsaken Monument. Colourless creatures you control get +2/+2. And it doubles up your colourless mana. Whenever you cast a colourless spell, you gain 2 life. Sort of like a Sphere of Suns or a Gauntlet of Power for colourless. Very good card, in my opinion. Lithoform Engine, probably one of the most interesting cards ever printed. You can pay 2, it costs 4 mana. You can copy target activated or trigger ability you control. Next, you can copy target instant or sorcery spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. And you can copy target permanent spell for 4 mana, and the copy becomes a token. Copying permanent spells is very interesting. We haven't seen that before. You've copied spell permanents already on the battlefield, but nothing on the stack really, apart from instant or sorceries. Next you have Skyclave Relic. This is a Manalith with upside. If you play Manalith or Darksteel Ingot, run this instead. I wouldn't run those personally, but you can play that if you want. Next we have the Pathways. There are 6 of these. When they enter the battlefield, you choose green or white. So you can flip them over when they choose if you want white or green. So one of these in Selesnya, Orzhov, Dimir, Gruul, Boros, Izzet, and that's it. They can't be fetched, so they're not that great. But in a 2-colour deck, they're probably very good. You can get the colour of mana you want anytime. They're just straight up better than a basic. Next up we have Crawling Barrens. It taps for a colourless, and you can pay 4 and put 2 counters on it, and then you can have it called a 0/0 elemental. Still a land. Just another utility land, very good in a colourless deck. Probably right in a +1/+1 counter on deck, or proliferate decks, you can proliferate it. And just use it as a blocker. I like cards like that where you can where they have some extra added utility. Next you have Throne of Makindi. It's a land, it taps for a colourless, you can put a charge counter on it, and you can remove a counter from it and add 2 mana of any one colour, and you can spend this mana only to cast kick spells. It's alright. It ramps you in kicked tribal, which is getting more help. And I do like these full art basics. They've got a similar one, this one here, to the bowl which is pouring. That's probably my favourite one. You've got a nice whirlpool as well on the normal land. They've got a full art one there as well. These look quite nice. I like the Nissa especially. And obviously they have the expeditions as well, which are being reprinted. I don't know if you can find these at all. I'll be looking at Command Legends and the Zendikar Rising Command decks and the collection green together probably. Thank you for watching and goodbye.